All right, welcome back to Chummy Thumbs, your go-to podcast for all things movies, TV, and a galaxy far, far away. I just want to say a quick thing actually before we get going too much further. Shout out to you all the listeners, because we just got rated the number one Star Wars podcast on Good Pods.
Oh yeah.
Woo! This is not a paid endorsement, but if you haven't checked out Good Pods, it's actually it's a pretty decent little platform. You can get the app or listen through the web browser, and you can comment directly on each episode. So if you want to get in with some of your theories or tell us how dumb ours are, that's always fun too. But I digress. Today, we are continuing our deep dive into Skeleton Crew episode 4, titled Can't Say I Remember No At Attin. In this episode, we trade the serenity of At Attin for the war-torn chaos of At Akron, where fog shrouds the skies, kids are thrown into battle, and our favorite crew finds themselves navigating war, ancient scrolls, and maybe a little romance. Finally, Neil steps into the spotlight this week, proving that kindness isn't weakness, even when faced with towering generals, weapon-wielding kids, and an existential droid with a hidden agenda. And don't even get us started on the Fallen Sanctum, the cryptic maps, and SM-33's chilling backstory. What's the deal with At Attin? And who's the mysterious pirate lurking in the shadows? This episode raises questions, amps up the stakes, and gives us one of the most heart-pounding endings yet. So grab your lightsabers, your moral compasses, and maybe a box of tissues, because we've got a lot to unpack and a totally wizard trivia game to play at the end, as always. But before I open up the floor, let's do a quick recap of episode 4. Can't say I remember no At Attin. The crew lands on a war-torn planet called At Akron, mistakenly thinking it's their home planet, and then the group quickly finds themselves caught in a conflict between the factions, the Troke and the Hatton. They're taken in by Hayna, a young warrior, and her father, General Strix, the Troke leader. While Wim thrives in testing out weapons, Neil struggles with the violent environment, showing courage through his belief in peace. Meanwhile, Jode surprises everyone by returning stolen animals, I don't know what they're called, from the Hatton Patrol, saving the group. His actions spark questions about his motives and growing loyalty. The gang gains access to the Fallen Sanctum, where they hope to find a map to At Attin, but SM-33, the crew's droid, reveals it destroyed the coordinates under its previous captain's orders. As you can expect, chaos ensues, but Neil saves the day, proving his bravery, and Mr. Sexy saves Neil. This episode ends with the group closer to answers, but facing a growing threat. It's an emotional, action-packed chapter that raises the stakes for what's to come. You know what, boys? I have some bold predictions after this episode, but I'll save it for the end or when it comes up naturally, because I want to throw it to you two lovely co-hosts, Shao and Hayden, and I want to hear what your initial reactions are to this episode.
Hayden, you go ahead.
All right, so straight away, I was like, the title of the episode, I had never even thought of it before, but I was like, each of the episode titles, yeah, they're dialogue from the episode, but is it going to be who is the main focus of the story, like what's going to push the story forward? I hadn't thought about it until this one. I was like, oh, okay, so this one is directly from SM-33. So I wonder if this is going to be around him. And my first note was like, is this going to focus on a backstory for him? Now, it didn't directly focus on a backstory on him, but it did reveal it was a big turning point of his droid character and where he'd come from. So I was like, I bold predicted myself, and it came true within episode. So that was a good one. Like, just to not go too deep into anything, it gave Yeah, it was a Neil focus one, and that was a great little story arc that he had in this one. Even though he was faced with danger, he was still first to draw his gun when they came across Jode in the mist. Like I was just like, he was like, I'm terrified, I'm scared, but he was still like, "Hua!" And then I really enjoyed seeing the vulnerabilities of Fern, because she's been such a hard ass tough captain the whole time, but this is the first time where she actually seems vulnerable. And I get it, they're like young kids, they're going to be vulnerable anyway. But there was a lot to dissect, like, you know, children soldiers is a whole thing that you could go into, and it's like the norm on that planet.
I loved, sorry to cut you off. I loved Wim's excitement and reaction when they land, and then he realizes it's a kid, and that they're fighting, and he's like, whoa, like you guys are fighting the adults for like control of the planet. Like he's just like so excited about that. I love it. He's just always ready for adventure. I thought that was quite funny.
Because it's just like his stories, obviously, that he's read, or, you know,
Yeah.
on his whatever those tablets were called. I can't
Data
remember.
pads.
Data pads, sorry. So he's like,
Yeah.
I'm living one of
Liz
these
Quest.
stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I was like, oh, okay. So there was a whole chunk of the story that they didn't show. Obviously, they were focusing on the kids, and they didn't show Jode and SM33's journey, because that would have maybe doubled the length of the episode. And initially, I was kind of like, oh, I would have liked to have seen what he got up to. But at the same time, I was like, I don't need to. I can fill in the gaps. It kind of adds to his mystique as a pirate swindler, and how, like, you can just kind of create your own story on how he managed to trade off. I mean, he says he just used money for it, but it would have been a funny sort of scene to sort of see. So those are my initial thoughts.
I kind of like that you don't see it,
Yeah.
because you don't really know what happens. Because man, what a great line when he like comes out, he realizes he's surrounded, and he's just like, you know what? Just shoot me. Just shoot me. He's like, I'm done with this shit, man. Like, and then you don't see him until he emerges. So I kind of like that you don't see it, because then you would know kind of what was playing out. But I kind of like forgot about him a little bit, you know. And then all of a sudden, like, I wasn't expecting that to be him when he comes out from the shadows. I feel like for how little Jode was in it, his character had a big arc, and he took a big step in his character arc. Same with Neil, in this end of obviously SM33.
Yeah, for me, you guys kind of touched on everything. But I think what this show does very well is that, I think so far, mostly every episode, I go into it, they kind of answer some questions, but I always leave having more questions, being very engaged and wondering, you know, obviously we can all speculate and stuff like that, but I did not at all think that they would go to a whole other planet, and then, everything that happened within at Akron. I mean, I don't know. So I'm actually really curious as to what your theory is, because I don't know. For me, I don't know anymore. Maybe just because I feel that they keep throwing curveballs that I can't seem to hit or catch. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this one, as much as I enjoyed this episode, I do feel like, okay, now I have even more questions, you know? So,
I mean, one of my theories kind of actually goes against exactly what my bold prediction was last week. And I was like, ride or die. This is my bold prediction. I watched this episode. I was like, oh, maybe not. But I actually have two. But I'm not going to give them to you just yet, Shao.
That's fine. Actually, one thing I'm actually just throwing it out there, just curious, is that just for funsies.
Yep.
For next episode 5, who do you think will say the line of the title? Like Do you think it's a character? Okay, I'm gonna just put my I'm gonna write my guess down, but then it can also be someone that we don't know yet. You know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
episode 3 was the Whim. Oh, was it
Kim.
Whim? Kim.
Kim.
Whim, the owl lady.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim. Kim.
Kim.
Um,
Kim.
so it could be a new character, but
Who is episode 2 again? Episode 2 is way past the barrier. Was that Neil?
I think that was Neil. Yeah.
Sounds like something Neil would say. And then Wim was the first one. Oh, I mean, yeah. Are they gonna go back to a kid?
I'm
I'm gonna throw a wild guess out there. Can I give a wild guess?
Yeah.
Wim's dad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
There's something
wrote,
going on with him. Something.
yeah, of
yeah.
course there is. He's so sketchy, I feel.
He's so
So
sketch.
sketch.
The fuck's his problem anyway?
I know, right? I'm going with I'm gonna go with KB, aka Kate, as Justin would
Yeah.
call her.
Kate.
Yeah, Kate.
Hey,
Okay.
who's it gonna be? Hey.
I don't know. I'm thinking. I know
Wow,
I had-
thanks for adding to the
Oh.
conversation.
I don't know. Well, if you let me finish talking, I had all that time to think while you guys were yabbering on. But I think it might
Yeah,
be
we
another
thought
kid again.
we stalled. We thought we stalled long enough.
Oh, you should have gone with me first, and then I would have had to been like, oh shit, Fern. I'm gonna say it's Fern only because of the way that she reacted towards the end of this episode. I think she might want to have a little self-redemption come next episode.
Fair.
But we're still on the same planet, so they didn't leave, did they? I can't even remember. I only watched it last night. Oh.
No, they didn't.
no, they didn't
Yeah.
leave.
They
So-
didn't leave. Hey, listen. So when they land, they come across that statue, right, without the head.
The headless stat. Yeah.
So what's interesting is we find out at Attin and at Akron, they're basically identical cities, and this is sort of going towards where I'll drop for one of my theories. But the houses are the same. Fern's house is the same. The Fallen Sanctum is with its supervisor's tower. Like everything's sort of identical. But we don't ever see a statue on At Attin. But I think that the fact that the statue didn't have a head. Now I know that's kind of for, dramatical reasons to show that this is a worn, torn place and statues are usually half destroyed or whatnot. But I wonder if it's actually more intentional than that, and that it would be a character that maybe we would recognize or know in the Star Wars universe. So they're trying to hide it. So we don't think anything of it at first, but then maybe it's like revealed or something, or we see one on another planet and it's actually, and like that's one of the big reveals is who that statue is of.
What if they go to
Because
another planet? They go to another planet and it's just see a huge like Jar Jar head. You know what I mean? That's
They
the
should.
guy.
Like just grow a set of balls and make it Jar Jar. He's one who went off and set.
He's like, you know what? Me's going to make my own planet colony.
Yeah,
Very
so
good, Hayden. That's a very good Jar Jar.
that's a very good Jar Jar. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna get into one of my first series.
Okay.
Not my bold prediction. One of the first series, because we're kind of lingering and flirting around the topic. Unless there was something that you wanted to get to, Hayden.
I have a bunch of theories as well, but I think it might be like the best if we just throw them out. We'll throw one out, discuss it, see where we
Yeah.
end up.
Okay, so we know there's the 9 jewels of the Old Republic, these hidden planets. Okay. Now, at Attin, I still think at Attin is maybe the most important one, but I was starting to think like, okay, they're exactly the same. Why is that? So what if, for whatever reason, they went out and it's actually just some social experiment, something along those lines. So they take these 9 planets, they hide them, they make them all the same. It's all the same types of living creatures on them. And, like at Attin has, survived. It seems to be they're happy. There's no war. At Akron, on the other hand, maybe they've fallen into, they've obviously broken off into clans and had some sort of civil war and all that. Now, I don't know if that's caused by the people itself on the planet, or maybe, somebody had, I mean, obviously, uh, SM-33, the pirate, had found that planet. We know that, but we don't ever find out what sort of caused the war. And maybe we'll get more information in the next episode if they're starting there, what had caused the war. But I don't know. I'm sort of thinking that they were all set up. There has to be a reason that they're identical.
But sorry, did you touch on, or did they touch on? Again, I might have missed some details that there are 9 planets, but then it's weird because I feel like was it General Strix, the
Yep.
dad, or what they were wearing? They had badges or patches that had dots on them, but he had 7 dots, but they were arranged in a way that it was kind of like the pillars in the last scene. But they also only mentioned 6 of the planets only.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is Kim said that they had all been destroyed.
Hmm.
And now, does she mean that they've been destroyed physically, or that whatever was being done on these planets, like At Attin's the only one that hasn't been destroyed by itself, say?
Well, like for her definition, was At Akron destroyed? Like, was that her definition of that's destroyed, or is like the whole planet, like you said, like Death Starred?
Yeah, I don't, if I remember correctly, she doesn't say, she just says they were destroyed, if I'm remembering correctly.
Mm. Mm-mm.
I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me on that. Who's listening? Throw it in my face. But there's another point that I want to make. Oh, and also I think the fact that they have been on at Akron now, when they do make it back to At Attin, because they're the same from what we can see and how they talk, like, oh, that's where the supervisor's place is. Oh, that's the school. Like, oh, that's that. Like, it's identical. They even kind of land by that playground. That's kind of like the playground I think we see in episode 1, near the beginning. So this is going to give them an advantage when they go back to At Attin, and then the pirates do eventually show up, because they'll sort of know their way around. Maybe, I think there was even like a gun turret on the top of the school at
Well, there's a giant
Akron,
cannon laser thing that
yeah, exactly. So they're gonna have all this information when they go back there now, and they're gonna know their way around the supervisor building, right? Because they were in it, the fallen sanctum. So they're kind of already gonna have an advantage of when they get back there. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, because I feel that that giant cannon, I don't know if that really had a lot to do with the episode. I feel like it's more of a foreshadow thing. That's why.
Exactly.
Right? Like, the episode would have been pretty much the same if she didn't really show Neil that. They could have gone it in another way about showing their defenses and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that's going to come back into play for sure.
So I wonder if the pirates are actually going to track them down at Akron. Maybe that's when it'll come into play. And then they got to flee, and maybe Hayna is going to join them. Maybe she's going to go with them on an adventure.
Oh,
I feel like
another kid. Nice.
Yeah, or maybe not this early, but I feel like all these little characters that we're being introduced to along the way, sort of like Mandalorian did, and then when they go into like the season finale or at the end, like they're all going to come back,
It's kind of cool because I thought about that as well, and I kind of thought about how it's kind of similar to if you're playing like an RPG video game. You go from planet to planet recruiting people to join your team, and then before you know it, they have their own crew, like a pirate crew kind of thing, and it's kind of another kid. It's a kid pirate gang, which is kind of cool, I think. you don't see that a lot.
Yeah. That's because kids would suck at being pirates. I mean,
Well,
let's
they'd-
be honest. Like
they'll
they
be- they'll
they need
die
Mr.
so
Sexy at
Look at
helm.
the
Yeah.
the Lost Boys. That's my initial when they first landed there and they were getting like they were sneaking up on them. I was like, oh, this is like a bunch of kid warriors. Where are the adults? Is it kids versus adults?
Yeah. Hey Shao, how did you feel about Hayna's all her slides and flips? Shao, Shao had messaged me. He's like, "Have you watched the episode yet?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What the fuck is?"
No, because I know I messaged
so
Justin. probably because
unnecessary.
I know Hayden hasn't watched it yet. That's why I messaged Justin. But
Yeah.
there's a scene. There's a couple parts where in the bus when they're hiding from the adult guys, she slides down she slides down just to like check the other window. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think
It's
that's
like
very
it's
necessary.
it's like when a
It was
kid's
so that she
playing-
could go past the windows without being seen.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
feel like it made more noise. And like, I was just like, I think it's so unnecessary. And yeah, at the very end too, when they have a very
like how
sweet
Wim,
moment.
like Wim was just so yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wim was
but
always
yeah,
so excited about it, like the slide the bus. Whoa, whoa.
yeah, that was funny
It-
too.
It's like
Yeah,
watching
that-
some kid play Call of Duty where they're just sliding around the map so they can't get shot.
Exactly. And at the
Yeah.
end,
The
when he
director's
says
a
bye
call-
to
Yeah.
says bye to Neil, she like runs away and then does like a 360 gainer like off like a giant stone or whatever. And like why?
She's keeping those
But
skills
maybe,
sharp.
I don't know. I was thinking, oh, maybe she's, she got to meet this kind of cute little friend, and then she's excited, she's happy, she's, obviously these kids had a good impact on her, especially Neil. So maybe she's happy. She wants to, do a little yippee thing, and that's her
Yeah.
version of, that. Just do a fucking crazy flip.
She's so war torn. She doesn't know how to express joy except
Exactly.
through like some sort of
By doing
action.
flips.
Fucking
Parkour.
parkour.
Yeah. So I immediately messaged. I had to message. her, What the fuck is that?
Anyway, I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about before, Justin, so I can actually get a word in inchways here.
Hold on, Shao. That one flip though. No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
It was a pretty good
Do
flip.
you think there was a stunt person, right?
It was her. It was her all day for sure.
For sure. Anyways, they did it in a wide shot, so absolutely it was done, without any trickery. But anyway,
But the slide though, you think that's the slide?
I would have preferred if she would have slid on the left, not the right side. But
Yes.
yeah,
you could
Yeah.
tell. I couldn't even tell. It was so quick. Was
it
she
was
on
really
the-
quick. That's a good point.
Was she
She's a good
facing-
slider?
Was she facing camera? So I guess it would have been on the left side. She slid.
I think the camera was behind her, wasn't it?
I don't know. Second
don't
view.
remember.
Who
We're-
remembers?
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Hayden. Go.
Okay. Theories on theories about the planets. So, one of my theories that I was coming up with while we're going along, because like you said, Justin, everything was carbon copy almost, exactly the same. So my brain was thinking, I was like, okay, so if, say, you go back to what Kim was saying about how the Jewels of the Old Republic, there are these 9 planets. And I was thinking, okay, well, what if there was originally only one planet with one civilization, whether or not it was Jedi or other members of the Old Republic, and then I guess this is going to turn into a bold prediction, because if they set up on one planet and their treasure, so each of the 9 planets has held something different that they have either sourced, mined, gathered, whatever, till they were done with it, picked up society, moved on. Next planet, set it up, found what was like the knowledge of that planet, and then along the way, like you've said, Shao, that they've had civil unrest within society. Like we said a couple episodes ago, actually, how come At Attin has never had any rebellious uprising that we know of? These other planets have had that, hence why, destroyed or in civil war, move on to the next one, and then At Attin was the one where they finally had all of the 9 planets together of what they needed, and then they were able to create the perfect, in rabbit ears, society to keep protected what they had gathered across the 9 planets. So that was kind of where my brain was spiraling when I was watching it. And then, like you said, it was either a dictator or the supervisor that they knocked their head off. It is either someone we know or it's someone who's covering their tracks by they fled during an uprising, covered all their tracks. Who knows? It was an interesting one to think of. It's like,
Yeah, because there's definitely a connection between them, and I kind of earlier said that it was maybe a social experiment, but I think that's kind of dumb, actually.
kind of
I
like
think,
The Village.
yeah, kind of like The Village. But
Or The Truman Show.
I think maybe it's more along the lines of maybe because they're all the same, and we know they've learned about Coruscant and Alderaan. We kind of talked about like their significance within the Star Wars universe, and so maybe to preserve this sort of culture and lifestyle, because you can't just survive on one planet, because maybe there could be a civil uprising or whatever. So instead of doing 1, they do 9, so that at least if one survives, you're just hoping for one. But then that it doesn't really answer why At Attin holds the significance, why that one's more important than the other ones.
Yeah.
So, but I do think they're somehow connected in some way, and the fact that all of them have the coordinates, because it's not like the Fallen Sanctum just had the coordinates for At Attin. It had the coordinates for the other ones as well. So obviously there's significance to all of them. What makes At Attin more significant than the others? That is what we've sort of yet to realize.
Maybe SM-33's captain isn't a pirate. Maybe he is the grand supervisor.
Okay, well, you brought it up, so here's my theory. Bold prediction. I don't know if it works for the timeline's sake, but
Are you about to hypothesize who the captain is?
no, I wish. But the captain, we know, it was revealed at the end that SM-33's captain got SM-33 to destroy the coordinates and not to tell anybody. And if anybody tried to find them, to tear them limb from limb, limb from limb.
Hold them
So
apart.
what if he told him that he crashed? Because we also know that when they were entering at Akron, as soon as they got, it sort of had that sort of green, I don't know, nebula, like whatever cloud as they're entering, kind of like At Attin had, like an old barrier. There's some like destroyed satellites floating around. But as soon as they started to kind of enter the atmosphere, they started getting pulled in, like some sort of, I don't know, autopilot. Remember, something got engaged and it was like automatically taking them somewhere. So if they're all kind of going on, the knowledge that we have that they're all kind of built the same. So At Attin, I'd assume, would have the same thing. Any ship that tries to enter is automatically going to try them and land them somewhere. Obviously, they must have crash landed. But my theory is that the captain is still on that planet, which is what has sort of Hayden kind of talked about, I think, in the very first episode, that maybe there was a survivor that stayed. And then that's what it is, that SM-33's captain is the supervisor. Now, I don't know if for the timeline that works, but maybe it's a descendant of him or something, or maybe he's claimed himself to be the supervisor. I don't know what that gets him if he's a pirate and he's there for treasure. Maybe just being the ruler of a planet is good enough for him because we know the value of those credits. And he would have access to all those. And if nobody can come and go, well, maybe he can come and go because he's a supervisor. So he would know how to do that because he would have the knowledge from being on the other planets and being in the supervisor tower. So, yeah.
So he would literally have
and then that would
access
add
to all the treasure.
he would have access to all the treasure and the knowledge and the credits and a society that's obedient, and he could just be this sort of, I don't know, ruler from the background. I don't know, like, and honestly, that would actually set up, because when SM33 switch went off, so he's obviously, Fern overrode his memory or his programming, because by saying she's the new captain and I demand this, whatever. So they got to find a way, and I think maybe this is where KB comes in with her tech skills, because they got to reboot him because he knows how to get to At Attin. So he's going to come back again. But if they find a way to do that, Fern's still the captain, they get back to At Attin, Climax is coming, and then all of a sudden we realize that the supervisor is in fact still, or is SM33's old captain. Well, we know that the captains have to duel to the death. Because if he's alive, right? Because SM33 is, your old captain's dead, I'm the captain now. That's the only way they can get a new captain. Well, if it turns out that his old captain is in fact still alive, now they got to fight SM33 and the supervisor.
I was just wondering, because we don't, like you said about the timeline, we don't even roughly know how long it's been, right, since the crash.
We don't know how long it's been the crash, but it feels like At Attin has been there longer than somebody would be able to, survive on a crashed planet. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like At Attin has been there for 30 years.
Yeah,
right.
There would be a couple of generations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a few generations. Okay. Yeah, because
I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I for a while I thought
it could be a descendant of the captain.
Yeah, I kind of thought for a while that the descendant could have been the dad. Like, Wim's dad has. I thought for a while also that he could have actually been on the ship, but yeah, the timeline doesn't make sense. But it would actually be quite interesting if somehow he is the captain, and then Fern had to actually kill him. You know what I mean? So that'd be like a nice little, Fern and Wim kind of dynamic, and you have to kill.
You're heartless, dude. You're fucking heartless.
Well, unless, of course, Fern gives the captaincy to Wim, and then it's Wim versus his dad. That could be.
Yeah, because like, I mean, that theme of, father and son battling, of course, not the first time in Star Wars. So, I mean, that being said, I don't know if they want to revisit that, and maybe some Star Wars fans would think it's kind of like
being done.
Yeah, do something new or whatever. But some might also appreciate it. I don't know. But I thought this could be an extra layer of, complicity.
Wim's dad is actually one of Palpatine's clones.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep
good.
the Palpatines
No,
out
you.
of this. Keep the Skywalkers out of this, unless it's Luke. Luke can always come back.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you guys have I like both of your theories actually. I really don't know. I really, because you Justin, you were bringing up stuff that is in parallel with some other, the whole Star Wars universe, which I'm not as familiar with compared to you two being the bigger nerds. But yeah, so also, so the Mr. Sexy, he paid those guys off, right? Is that what he said
Yeah.
with the credits? And so they just disappear, they just leave, or they're just kind of like, okay, we'll retreat.
Well, it was to get the animals back. EOPs or EOPs or whatever they're called.
The EOPs, the EOPs.
EOPs. Yeah. That's what he paid them for.
Oh yeah.
But really, he
Right.
had
Because
no
they had
idea what he
stolen
was.
for the
But he didn't
hides or
know
whatever.
that. He didn't know that.
Jode?
Yeah, he would have had no idea whose animals they were. Which is why I was interested into what he and SM33 got up to, because he wouldn't have known that there was two different clans going at war, because he had to, they were very adamant about, you have to stay at the ship and get babysat by,
Dude,
33.
I fucking love that scene. Come here, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. It's like a nice little bit of humor from SM33. It was so good. It was a laugh out loud moment for me because it wasn't just once. He just kept going.
Yeah.
I
Just
love that
kept going.
character. I love everything
So-
about the character design, the voice, the look, like everything, the way it walks with that little peg leg thing. I think it's just so cool.
Yeah. Did you
I
guys
do think,
have a...
I do think his fucking kill switch is way too easy to get though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Pop
Jared
it
had to do pretty quick to, run across there before he ripped.
Yeah,
Neil
but I mean,
apart.
you literally just, there's a button on his back. Like, isn't like fuck.
C3PO?
Yeah, thank you. Last time, what I call him last time? C3PO.
CP30.
Yeah, something like that. But his is hard to get to, right? His is like,
Well, his is
inside.
also-
You have to- no, I think you have to, like, his is like so harder. Like, it was something to, you could open something to get into
I
it.
think
You
Chewie had to
couldn't
use
just
like a
run and dive
screwdriver.
and flick it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very true. And it's like, especially, if he's a bodyguard-esque type person, because all you would have to do is like wait around a corner or like sneak up behind him, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's always got his back to the wall. Why do you walk like that? Protect my kill switch.
That's right.
Did you guys have a favorite moment from the episode?
Besides the sliding and the parkouring,
No, I mean, not besides that. If that was your favorite moment.
I not a particular moment. I just really do like the overall arc for Neil in this one. I just really like that his story, and even though it's just like I don't know, little, would it be a cliche? Just the whole be nice and be kind, that kind of thing. But I like his, I like how it ended too, with him being heroic and then fainting. I think that was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
It was good for him though, because he was so confident in his weakness. Like, he just was like, he wasn't like, yeah, I'm so weak, he was just like, that's who I am. This is how I approach things. So I thought it was a good sort of, I agree with you, Shao, on it was a great little, to show how he is as a character. He's not a weakling. He's just, he knows what he's good at and what his strong part is. And I mean, whatever the girl's name is, I can't remember.
Hayna.
She was like, your weakness makes you kind. And I thought that was a great line that she gave him before or after she gives him the little kiss. I can't even recall. But yeah, his stuff was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like he stands behind it. He doesn't waver on his beliefs. I also really like I said, Jode wasn't really in it that much, but there's that one little shot where the kids came up to him and he kind of hugged the kids. And he's starting to lean more away from the Crimson Jack pirate, just trying to escape just after the treasure, to being like, I care about these kids. Because at first it was always kind of seemed like there's ulterior motives the whole way through. He used them to get out of prison because they had a ship. And then he used them because they're from At Attin, you know, the planet, the secret planet of eternal treasure. Just a little cut. We're partners. We're not partners. You work for us. Okay, okay, okay. I work for you. And so I felt like this was kind of a step for him in this episode where it sort of felt more like his actions were a result of having grown fond of these kids and of having, you know, developed these relationships with them and starting to care about them and their well-being, as opposed to just caring about himself and his well-being.
Well, do you think there's still a chance that he's just still trying to gain their full trust? Because I mean, he was still, you know, at the beginning of the episode, he was still being, you know, captain the ship, not going with the kids or whatever. So I mean, we do see the arc kind of happening for him, you know, the change. But
Yeah, I think it's
who knows?
it's going to be a process. I think if it happened in the first episode or, you know, the second episode when they first meet, it would make sense. And then, you know, even the third one and like the fourth one, like I said, it's not a lot. I mean, I still think he probably thinks a lot about himself, but I also think you can see them starting to get to him.
Mm.
You know, maybe at Attin when they get there, you know, he doesn't want to be a pirate on the run anymore. Maybe he wants to, you know, set up shop and you know, hit up Mrs. Sexy and get to know her a little bit. And
You mean Fern's mom?
we haven't Fern's mom has got it going on. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's ulterior motives. It's just shifted from treasure to pute.
Yeah.
I
don't
do
blame him.
So I like-
enjoy his willingness now to listen to them. Like when they're
Yeah.
like, what did they say? Like no adults on the flight deck or whatever. And he's like, haha, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, no adults or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. But I think, Justin, just to very quickly drop this in, my bold prediction, there's going to be a big fight in the final episode on At Attin where the pirates will meet up and then the supervisor will have his forces that are all hidden and something will happen and the kids will have to retreat with Jode and they will become their own pirates, which will lead into a second season of them being pirate family, so to speak. Who knows if the parents will survive or if the parents are with them or not, but I think they won't stay at Attin at the end of the series.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, finish up the bold prediction. Do the parents or do they become pirates? Mr. Sexy and Mrs. Sexy got to get together. Come on. Wim's dad, he can die. Somebody's got to die. Like somebody has to die. And if you want to pick Wim's dad, that's fine.
I don't know. It depends on how if they're going to target it towards, you know, the adults watching with their kids because, you know, or are they going to cheap out and not have anyone die? Because if you look at, say, like the original trilogy, yeah, people died in that all the time. Like Obi-Wan dies. And then if you look at the prequel trilogy, deaths are a little more further back. You don't see anything quite close up, except for like Django, where he gets his head lopped off, you know. It's not as... So I don't know. This is through the eyes of the kids. It's not through any adults. So I don't know if they're going to kill anyone in plain sight, you know. Also, because it's in the Star Wars universe, there could be clones. They might not actually be their parents. They might have already killed their parents, and these are replaced with, you know, replicants, to use a term from clones, from another series. Who knows? But yeah, because, I mean, if you look at Wim's dad and Wim, they don't really look like father and son. But that's just, you know, that's being prejudiced at how they look. We don't know what Wim's mum looks like at all.
Yeah, we don't know we don't know what Mrs. Wim looks like. You know.
One thing I really like about this series is, you know, when the second trilogy came out, and when you said this, Hayden, it kind of reminded me of, or gave me this thought, because we hear about Coruscant and some of these places in the first trilogy, and then the second trilogy expands the Star Wars universe a bit, and we start seeing some of these places. And I really like how this show has been bringing these new places and expanding the Star Wars universe and kind of bringing in the Old Republic. And we're starting to see, you know, Star Wars from different perspectives, and is just kind of broadening it. And I really like that the show is doing that. Just wanted to say that. I don't know why. I felt inspired.
Very inspirational.
I felt so inspired to say that.
Yeah.
So inspired.
So
Hayden.
inspired. I want to just very quickly, because I didn't get to say my specific favorite part. I just piggybacked
Yes,
off
please
of
do.
Shao's before we get into the totally wizard trivia, unless there's more stuff that people want to talk about. But I've always been a romance sucker.
Yep,
Always.
we know. Oh God, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. What's your favorite rom-com? Go.
Favorite rom-com?
You have one?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There's too many, hey?
Before
Love
Midnight.
Actually. What?
Notebook.
Notebook.
Which one?
I've the Before trilogy. There's like Before. It's got Ethan
Is that
Hawke.
a trilogy? It's
Is
a
that-
I've never even heard of it. And it's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy. Before Midnight. Before. What are they freaking called? Someone else out there. It's got Ethan Hawke
After
in it.
Midnight?
No, it's Before.
Oh, wait. Is this the one with it's the one with Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight. Those are the three. And each one takes
Oh,
place.
love those movies.
Each one takes place 10 years, real time, 10 years after each other.
Wow.
Which one do you
So-
like most? Or
I
all
like
three of them?
the first one is the one that I liked the most. Favorite part of the episode was when, like I mentioned earlier, seeing Fern's vulnerability when she was like, I almost had everybody killed because and then little old Wim being the dreamer and the hopeless romantic that he's gonna be. I know they're only like 10 or 11, but he straight away he used the line that I've used many times in my life. He's like, but you're amazing and you'll figure it out. Like that, he was straight up flirting with her to try and make her feel better. And then she shuts him down straight away. And I was like, oh, this like totally goes against, because I was like, guaranteed Wim he's gonna fall for Fern in the next couple of episodes, or they're gonna share something, because he liked it from the first time he saw her on the hover bike. You could tell that he was like, ooh, who's this, girl? She's crazy. She's adventurous. She's got it going on like a mum.
She's got a total wizard bike.
Yeah, totally wizard bike. And she, was like, nah, I'm the captain. She was all like big and confident, and Wim was kind of like, okay. But he's having his moment. He's going to shoot his shot. And I think he'll get something out of it.
Nice.
That was my favorite part. That little exchange there before, Neil's heroics at the end.
I would have to say it was a great episode, but I'm going to pick for my favorite moment because it caught me by surprise and it made me laugh, was when Jode came out and said the line, you know what? Just shoot me. I don't know. It got me. When you watch a movie sometimes, or you're talking and somebody says something and it's so unexpected, and for whatever reason, it just gets you. That one got me. Obviously, this episode was full of great moments and storyline and arcs and reveals and all that. But I'm going to have to pick with that one. I'm going to do something that we haven't done yet.
So well, though, I think Mr. Sexy. I think Mr. Sexy plays his character so well. It's just a little bit goofy at times, and like not so serious all the time. And when he needs to be that kind of adult or bigger brother sort of role, he can step up and do that for them and be there for the kids. So, and it's just overall his facial expressions and how he does all these little nuances and all that stuff. I think he does a really good job with them.
It was
Yeah.
really well cast.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
find out in 10 years that it was supposed to go to Kevin Hart or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I wanted to make it all like 5 kids,
yeah.
with heart, and then they're like,
He's
So,
like,
yeah,
you're
they
the same
didn't-
height as us.
yeah.
yeah. That's right.
Hey, before we get to the totally wizard trivia,
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw it out to you blokes. I'm going to throw it out to the listeners. What are your thoughts or theory? And I'm giving it to you guys because I thought long and hard about it, and I couldn't come up with anything. But every planet of the jewels are at something. At something. At Attin, at Akron, at AO. I don't know. I can't remember the other ones. I did yesterday. But
I'll
anyways,
start with A, right? Yeah.
it's AT and it's always at something. So what do you think that AT could stand for? Throw us your suggestions on X, Blue Sky, chummythumbs@gmail.com, good pods, whatever. Interested to hear what you guys think about that. But anyways, let's move on. Wrap this freaking episode up with some totally wizard trivia. All right, so I have 11 questions for you fine gentlemen in front of me, and all you fine folks listening wherever you are, please play along. A lot of these questions have already been answered in our discussion, so be quick on your dingers and be also ready to stretch the old brain because I got some tough ones in here. These are all from the episode. Let's get to it. Question number 1. What's not allowed in the cockpit?
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding ding. Oh, he fucking
Hayden.
Adults or Jode?
That's correct. Adults.
adults. Yeah. Fuck, too slow.
First one, Hayden.
That's all they'll get.
Question 2. What was the piece of playground equipment that the ship landed by?
Ding, 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 ding.
Hayden.
It's like a carousel or whatever you would call them.
That is correct.
Ring around the rosy.
I wrote down spinny thing, so I was
Spinny thing.
accepting anything that was
anything.
Spinny thing.
I was gonna look up what they're actually called, but I was like, one of you two fine blokes will know the answer. Okay, 2 Hayden. Shao still looking for his dinger. Question 3. What sequence does SM-33 initiate when the kids leave Mr. Sexy with him at the ship?
Oh, I don't know this one. Go ahead. Hayden.
Ding, 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 ding. Is it like the babysitter sequence? I don't know.
That is correct. The
Is that-
babysitting sequence.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah. Like initiate babysitting sequence.
I laughed at that part too.
Yeah.
Come here.
Okay. Question number 4. What are the kids they meet from the planet? What are they called?
Ding ding.
Shao.
The Troiks.
Yes. Correct. Shao's on the board.
Dang fuck. Okay, I just don't want to be shut out.
I couldn't remember that at all. Like, while I
Oh,
was
yeah.
watching it, I was like, who are the 2 clans? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
This
nice
is
work.
definitely coming up in the trivia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even, like, I
3
meant when I
points.
was actually watching it live, I was like, I freaking.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't hear. 3 points, Hayden. 1 point, Shao. Next question. When Hayna takes Neil to look at the bigger weapons, how does she grab him? Where does she grab him?
Ding ding.
Shao.
By his trunk.
That is correct.
She does?
So it's actually it's one of those moments in what fuck, I don't know why it's slipping me now, but the continuity's off. Cause I was like, what? Did she just really pull him by the trunk? And so I rewound it. And when the camera's sort of facing Neil, she actually puts her hand on his shoulder But then when it cuts to the next angle, she's actually leading him away by the trunk.
One
I
of
thought
these
that
ones.
was quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was smooth, very
Come with
smooth.
me, big boy. 3
Oh.
points Hayden, 2 points Shao. Sorry, can I say that about kids?
You already did. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Okay, next question. When Hayna asks Neo, says to Neo, so there's no fighting on your planet? He says, no. Well, there is this game called what? It's a game that he plays that he's actually pretty good at.
He's the best at it. I don't
Yeah.
remember what it's called though. Shao, this is for you.
Does it start with an S?
Yes.
Is it slap ball?
It's slap ball.
Ah!
No way. 3 straight Hayden, 3 straight Shao. Let's go. We got a
Woo!
game. We have a game. Did you get that at home? Nah. Okay. Next question. Ooh. Even thinking about this will get you shot by the clan.
Ding,
Or
ding,
the
ding, ding,
group.
ding.
Hayden.
Deserting.
That's it.
Nice. I didn't know that one.
Sundays
Correct answer
and
is
all that.
desertion, but I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Half
4 points Hayden, 3 points Shao. Next question. Hayna says Neil's weakness makes him what?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
Kind.
That is correct. 5 Hayden, 3 Shao. Hayden, I'd say one more for the win, but we know the final question's the only one that matters.
Ah!
Okay. How many times does SM33 say, can't say I remember no At Attin in the episode?
Is this a whoever gets closest or on the dot?
Let's see what you guys get.
I'll ding
I'll say, okay, I'll tell you. Let's do whoever gets close.
closest. Oh, okay.
But hold on a second. What do you guys want to do? Whoever gets, or we can do whoever gets closest gets a point. But if we do the whoever gets closest and you get it exactly, it's worth 2 points.
Sure.
Okay.
Is this the last question? So it doesn't really matter.
No, it's not the last question. There is 2 more
Okay.
because it's 5-3. That's 8.
Fuck, actually,
I can
don't.
count.
I'm gonna say 5. I don't know.
Hayden.
I'm going to say for this episode, just the one.
Correct answer is 5. Shao for the 2 points. We got a tie game.
Really?
Yeah, it is 5.
Ah, dang. I swear it was just the once and Fern just goes, we know.
I know he does it more than once, but I thought it was gonna be 4, but I thought I missed one, so I added 1. But
Nice. Yeah, no, he did it 5 times, and then that's why at the end why she screamed that. Okay.
So it's 5-5. Did Shao just
5-5. Oh boy.
5-5?
Okay. Penultimate question. How many
what's that?
penultimate? The second to last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many people directed this episode?
Oh,
Ding ding.
Shao.
2.
That is correct. Shao 6, Hayden 5. The last question. Streak on the line. Who created Skeleton Crew?
oh, freaking hell. Ding, ding, ding.
Hayden.
His name's John. I don't know his freaking last name, though.
Okay. You're at a half point because it was created by 2 people.
Oh, by 2 people.
Yeah.
Nah. I'm horrible.
You're onto something. Yeah, John is very familiar.
Yeah, it's John Watts is one of the people.
John Watts. Christopher?
That's it.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yes, yeah,
You
it
got
is.
tied.
Ding, 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 ding. But what's his last
It's
name?
okay.
Ford, I remember. Because
Ford.
I remember, yeah. Fuck. Yeah, well done.
Okay, so we need to do a tiebreaker, people. Lucky for you, I have a tiebreaker question.
Wait, didn't I just win it because I got the last question right?
Yeah,
Even though I
we
was
just
losing?
pretend that. We just
Okay.
pretend that that's the thing.
I enjoy
Yeah.
trivia, so give me we'll get outright winners. Outright winners.
Let's do an outright winner. Outright winner. Outright winner. Here we go. Who's your favorite co-host of Chummy Thumbs? No, I'm kidding.
Ding, 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 ding.
You motherfuckers better get this right. Okay. What was the name of the Troke general?
Ding, ding, ding.
Shao.
Who is General Strix? Strix. Strix.
I was gonna say there's an S there, is there not?
I think it's
To keep a
TR.
streak alive, Shao General Strix. That is correct.
Yes. Although my streak is just
Nice.
starting. Because
I was gonna
lost
say
two.
it's just a one game streak because you won last
yeah,
week.
I just started it again.
Oh yeah, it's just a winning streak versus you. Obviously, it's not me.
To keep my losing streak going.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's a good
Hayden,
one.
you'll get there.
I think I
Hayden
won one
saving
other
it.
time.
You did. You have one before.
You did. Yeah, you did.
But you know what? I think that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, on our deep dive into Skeleton Crew episode 4. Can't say I remember. No, At Attin. This episode gave us action, heart, and a whole lot of mystery. Everything we love about Star Wars storytelling, from Neil's bravery to SM33's haunting revelations, were one step closer to At Attin. But the journey somehow is still only getting started. We want to hear all your thoughts, so hit us up on our social medias at Chummy Thumbs X, Chummy Thumbs Blue Sky, chummythumbs@gmail.com, Chummy Thumbs on Good Pods. Let us know your favorite moments, craziest predictions, or even your trivia scores. How are you all doing on the trivia? And hey, if you're enjoying the podcast, please do us a solid, rate us, review us, subscribe wherever you're listening. Next week, come on back. We're going to be breaking down episode 5. So until then, keep it totally weird and keep on thumbs.
Oh man.